Ah, shit. Here we go again.
You know, the homies came in, they was like, yo, Dante, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm straight. What's going on? They said, hey, man, it's this dude in here talking about he a pastor. And, he talking about, he talking about God and stuff. I'm like, okay, and they like, no, he talking about he like a priest, a Catholic priest or something. So I'm like, okay, what? Now, at this time, y'all, I had a massive headache. So I really wasn't trying to hear nothing. So I'm like, yo, why y'all, like, what's up? They like, no, man, he down there talking like some crazy stuff. I'm like, what he saying? They like, he with the Catholic Church and, he talking about, being gay ain't a sin and all this and that. And I said, what? It was like, yeah, that's what he down there saying. So I said, man, hold on, let me get up right quick. So I popped me 2 ibuprofens, drunk some water from the sink, put my state boots on because you never know how this was gonna go, and I end up leaving out the cell. So I go down there in the day room and I see him down there talking. It's like 3 guys that's right there listening to him, like hanging on his words. Now, keep in mind, y'all, everybody know me as the Bible guy. I was the guy that, you would come to if you need like spiritual guidance or if you had a question about the Bible, you would come to me with that because everybody knew that Dante was well versed in the scriptures or whatever. So I'm over there and I'm listening to him, right? Me and my crew done rolled up on him and we just listening, and he looked right at me and I could tell something wasn't right. I can tell something was like wrong about this guy. So as he talking, I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but I called him out on. I said, hey, was you telling, these people that homosexuality isn't a crime? Homosexuality ain't no sin? And he was like, yeah, I said that. I said, oh, really? He said, yeah. And then I said, so, is homosexuality an abomination? Then he got quiet for a minute. Then he said, well, look, God loves every. I said, whoa, hold up. Is homosexuality an abomination? Yes or no? Then he said, well, listen, my brother, you can't. I said, hold up. Don't call me your brother. That's number one, because obviously we ain't brothers. And second, the scripture says, let your yes be yes and your no's be no's. So is homosexuality an abomination? Yes or no? And he was like, well, we're just going to agree not to agree. I said, okay, cool. I said, well, I said, hold on, y'all, watch out. Let me work. I got this. So, everybody start coming around because, everybody like when Dante get into these debates with other religious type people, whatever, because they know how I bring it. And when I bring it real, I bring it raw. Matter of fact, do me a favor, y'all, before we go any further, just in case it may have slipped y'all mind. I'm not trying to push up on y'all, but I am pushing up on y'all, right, in a nice way. But I need for y'all to hit the like button for me just one time. Cause y'all been real slacking on that like button. Don't be talking about, oh, Dante begging again to hit the like button. No, come on, y'all, hit the like button and show your big partner some love. So anyway, I told him, watch out, He stepped down. I said, all right, y'all come around, y'all. I got a story to tell y'all right quick, right? So I was like, imagine, I brought up the story about, Abraham and Lot. I said, well, God came to Abraham and told him his plans of what he was going to do to, the sister cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And I told him, like, so God was talking to Abraham and told him, like, listen, I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And for those that don't know, Lot is Abraham's cousin, right? And Lot ended up settling into one of them cities or whatever. So God told Abraham, like, listen, the wickedness and the homosexuality and the wickedness of these men's hearts is continuously evil, right? And I'm going to destroy it. And Abraham was like, okay, look, God, I understand what you said about, the wickedness of these homosexuals or whatever. But if it's 100 men there, 100 people that is worthy, that are good, could you save them? And God said, listen, Abraham, if it's 100 men that's not wicked and that's worthy, I will spare. And then God said, but it ain't 100 men. And then we know the story. It got down to 50 to 20 to 10 to 5 to 1. And he said, there's nobody there worth saving, period. Right? So then Abraham went on his way. Now, word got to Lot some way, somehow. And two angels walked off with an angel of the Lord, right? Two of the angels walked off and they end up getting to Sodom, right? And it was in the town square. So when Lot got word that they was at the town square, he hurried up and he went to the town square. It was like, yo, y'all need to come with me right now, immediately. And they like, no, we gonna stay here. And Lot, knowing how these homosexuals are in this town, in this city, he know like these some real crafty, vicious, terrible people, like for real. And they like, no, we gonna stay here. And he urged them strongly, like, no, y'all need to come with me right now. It kind of got me thinking, like, in the scary movies, with like in the Night of the Living Dead or whatever, when they say, yo, when the sun go down, we got no, not even Night of the Living Dead. There's a television show called From. Do y'all remember that? I watched all the seasons. I can't wait for the next season to come out. But there's a television show that's called From. I'll be watching it on Prime or whatever. And basically at nighttime, these monsters comes out, right? And they human monsters. They look weird. They look like they from like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s or whatever. And they come out and they'll tear you apart, like rip your rib cage open, do you bad, right? But they come out at nighttime, right? So this got me thinking about, what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah or whatever. So, Lot is telling them like, no, y'all need to come on, man. It's getting dark. Y'all out here in the middle of this town square, man. Hey, man, y'all need to come on me right now. So they agreed with him and they end up going to, Lot's house. So when they get to Lot's house, they get a knock at the door. Lot like, yo, who that? And, they're like, yo, open the door, Lot. It's about 30, 40 men outside. All men. He like, what's up? They like, hey, man, hey, where them dudes at that was, at the town square? We heard that they here at your house, man. Tell them come outside. And Lot like, man, hey, y'all hold up, man. What y'all mean tell them come outside? They under my roof. They my guests, man. What do y'all mean? They're like, man, no, forget all that, man. Hey, tell them dudes to come outside so we can have sex with them. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to what I said. They didn't say, yo, we want to just make sure that these guys ain't spies from a different kingdom. They said, tell them men to come outside so we can penetrate them. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Do y'all see the evil and the wickedness that was in these men's hearts? And this is what I'm telling the guys right there in the dormitory with this Catholic priest is sitting there, right? So I said, so then, Lot like, no, man, I'm not doing that. What's wrong with y'all? It got so bad. That Lot said, listen, y'all, please don't do this. Matter of fact, I'll give y'all my 2 virgin daughters, right? For y'all not to harm these 2 men that I got under my roof, right? And they said, no, we don't want them women. We don't want them women. We want the men. That right there should show you the wickedness, the hatred that was inside these men's hearts, right? that they said that they rather lay with two men than two virgin women. That just right there shows the evil that was inside of these men, right? So nevertheless, they was pushing up on the door and they weren't trying to hear it. They lust, they evil consumed them, and they tried to push in the door, but then one of the angels grabbed Lot in the house, right? And he did something magical, something supernatural, that the men they couldn't find the front door. They couldn't get in that house. And they were so determined they didn't leave. They stayed for hours. And the only thing that was keeping them going, to have them fueling to get in that house, was to lay with these two men. Now, if y'all don't think that that's crazy, and y'all don't think that God, and this is why God did what he did. This is why he rained fire and brimstone on Sodom and Gomorrah. See, what y'all got to understand is Sodom and Gomorrah was two separate cities, right? But equally, in the biggest thing that was going on in these two cities was homosexuality. That the men was just so wicked and so proud and so beastly. They was see, with the homosexuality thing, it's a lot of things that's rooted with that homosexuality thing, because they was practicing bestiality. They was practicing pedophilia, all that, which is a linkage to homosexuality. So all these things was going on. All these abominational things was going on. That God said, yo, enough is enough. Enough is enough. So, I end up ending the story right there. The priest sat there for a minute, and I said, okay, so you got a rebuttal for that? And he was like, I don't. I said, come again? Now, at this time, everybody looking at him crazy, like, what you mean you don't? He was like, you're right. You're right. What's your name again? I said, my name Donta, man. He said, okay, brother Donta. Yeah, you right. Yeah, homosexuality is, now that you put it that way, I didn't even think about it that way. I said, hold on, time out. Because I got to feel it some type of way. And I didn't want to put him on blast in front of everybody, which I should have, but I'm not. I'm going to reserve that for myself for why I said what I just said. But I pulled him to the side and we went over here by the stairs. And I said, what you in here for, man? He was like, well, God already absolved me of all my sins. I said, but what you in here for? He said, man, well, okay, so basically, I was tutoring this boy, and, they accused me, and I just took off on them. I stole off on them because I already knew what it was going. I just took off on them. Beep, 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 beep. And when I stole on them, Tarty popped up, Homicide, Jerry, they ran over there, and, we packed them out right there under the stairwell. Let me tell y'all something. Whenever somebody come to the pen and they want to start off talking about, I didn't know, or when they started off talking about a kid being involved or whatever, and, looking at the history of the Catholic Church and him being a priest, nah, I ain't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear no more of it. Right? So we packed him out, left him right there, witness room, took everything that he had. Right? He was knocked out for about 15 minutes. Then he got up, slow at first. Right? And then he got to yelling, God, please help me. Help me, God, please. help me, help. Right? And everybody just looking like, man, what's up with this dude, man? So then the guard came in like, man, what's up? What's going on, man? Help me, get me out of here. They just attacked me. They attacked me. Look at my face. Look at my... Yeah, we did them bad. We definitely did them bad. But y'all got to understand, you know, once you violate a child is helpless. And I hate that these so-called men of the cloth, you know, they hide behind that cloth when they got these sexual perversions and these deviant activities and these nefarious things that's inside of them. It's like, if you are going to be a man of the cloth, now I know everybody ain't perfect, but goddamn, you know, you can't be a practicing homosexual and being a man of the cloth. That's a contradiction. It's a huge contradiction. And like I said, it's like when you hurt a child and then you want to hide behind the cloth. See, the scriptures tell us that it's best that a man put a chain and a boulder around his neck and throw himself into the deep parts of the ocean if you violate a child. So when you look at the optics of this whole situation, this guy, this creep, put on a cloth and hid behind God to get into these homes, to mentor these children. And parents out there, y'all, I want y'all to pay attention to me right quick. Listen to your homeboy. Listen to your big partner, Donta, right quick. It's a shame that we can't trust strangers, let alone even people in our families. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's suspect at this point. These people that's supposed to be our leaders, these people that supposed to have our best interests, the child's interests, it's like letting the fox in the hen house. Violators. And this is why so many homosexuals, you know, they turn out the way that they turn out, because these violators be violating them as children, and they don't get the help that they need. They don't get the counseling they need. They don't get the therapy that they need. But then again, they say hurt people, right? And I guess what me and my homies did, I guess we was hurting. So we had to put a hurting on him for hurting that child. Now, again, y'all, if you are a person out there that is battling with homosexuality, understand this. You got to treat it like somebody that is an alcoholic or a drug addict. And let me break that down for y'all for a little bit. Y'all stay with me. Hold on. I got y'all. If you're a person out there that's dealing with homosexuality, you got to treat it like a drug addict or an alcoholic, right? Meaning, think about what Christ did after he got baptized by John the Baptist. After he got baptized, he went away for 40 days and 40 nights. He got away from everybody. He got away from his disciples. He got away from the crowds. He went into the wilderness. He had to separate himself from everybody, right? So when I say you got to separate yourself, for anybody that's out there dealing with homosexuality, stop going to them gay clubs, right? Get off of Grindr and these other hookup spots for, you know, that type of nefarious activities. You know, stop watching the movies. Stop. You know, you got to cut them guys off that's indulging in them activities. You know what I'm saying? You got to separate yourself from these people. Because how you going to get away from that and be delivered from that if you always around it? If all you doing is listening to this stuff and watching this stuff? Don't y'all know that the eyes to the soul, your eyes, you know that thing that's saying, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil? You cannot keep watching the stuff that you be watching, right? That's dealing with homosexuality. You cannot be consuming these things. You cannot be listening to these things. You got to separate yourself like Jesus did when he went into the wilderness. You got to stop going to the gay clubs. You got to cut your friends off that's rocking and rolling like that. You know, you have to go through it. You got to go through that trial. You got to go through that fire to be delivered. Same as an alcoholic and a drug addict. If you're an alcoholic, stay away from that drink. Stay away from other alcoholics. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Just the other day, man, I was riding through Detroit, right? It's right there on Gratiot, the corner store right there. Across the street from Osborne High School. No cap. I seen maybe 3 women and maybe 5 men, and they all got bottles of alcohol. The bumpy face gin. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That cheap stuff. That as soon as just the $4.37 bottles. You know what I mean? And they all just drinking, just drinking. It's cold outside. Y'all remember how cold it was not too long ago? It was cold, right? My point is, if you want to get better, you got to separate yourself from these people that's indulging in the same things that you indulging in. You got to. You just got to. Hey, listen, y'all. I'm not trying to, condemn nobody. I'm not trying to convert nobody, anything like that. But, there's a lot of people out here that's hurting. There's a lot of people that's out here accepting they sin. When they say live your truth, be you. Nah, that ain't you. That ain't you. That's you living a lie. And, like I said, man, y'all got my number, man. If somebody need counseling or some type of therapy or just need to, talk to me and get an understanding about how to get delivered from whatever thing you got going on with you, I'm here. You can call me. We can talk. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm here. I know my purpose in life. I got a big mouth, right? I got a big mouth. And, I tell y'all these prison stories and, let y'all know what's going on in the neighborhoods and stuff. But, I'm here to educate and entertain also. Let me say that again. I'm here to educate and entertain. But then I noticed that, what's the part of educating and entertaining if people's souls are in jeopardy? I give y'all the education part about these things. But what about the part where people's souls are in mortal danger of the hellfire? That's why I cannot rock with that movement when they say, love is love. Because when they say love is love, what they really mean is lust and then free sex. That's what they really saying. Because love is kind. Love is patient. Love don't record wrongdoing. You understand? So when they holler out this old be you and YOLO, you only live once. People that say that don't give a damn about you. You want me to continue to destroy myself? You want me to continue? Don't y'all know, with careless sex comes HIV and AIDS? Do y'all know that? When you want to YOLO, you only live once. When you be you, do you. Alistair Crossley said, do as you will. And that whole movement that they out here pushing, do as you will, ain't gonna get you nothing but. See, here's the funny thing. A lot of these people get out here and want to push that agenda, which I'm not even gonna mention. Right? But when them people get home by themselves and they got to deal with themselves, and when they look in the mirror and all they can do is cry, and they contemplate of taking themselves out permanently, because when all the smoke and mirrors go away and the circus leave the town, it's just you with you. They say your biggest enemy is you. You can't lie to yourself, right? Let me ask y'all a question, and I could be wrong. Ain't it a sin to live backwards? Let me say, hold on. Give me a second, y'all. But ain't it a sin to live backwards? They like, yo, Dante, where you going with this? Is a sin to live backwards. I mean, how this guy, look, we all know wrong is wrong and right is right, right? There's no thin line. You can't mix the two. Let your yes be yes and your no it is no. Because anything outside of that is of the devil. So when I asked this so-called priest, this so-called man of God that I had to put hands on, right, for violating the child, when I asked him, was homosexuality abomination, he couldn't say yes or no. He kept trying to divert. And that's why I had to hit him with that Sodom and Gomorrah story. So when I said, ain't it a sin to live backwards? Well, you supposed to be this man of God, the man of the cloth. When you attracted to children, ain't it a sin to live backwards? When you put on this cloth, that means you try to be the most purest human being that you possibly can be. To get out here, because these are souls interacting with souls. These are human beings interacting with human beings. When you're supposed to be a man of the cloth, you're supposed to come with some type of healing, some type of fulfillment to build these broken humans, not continue to break these humans with your sexual deviancies. Looking at these children as delicacies. That ain't nothing but evil, wickedness. Hey, listen, y'all. I don't give a damn if y'all don't like me. That's cool. I don't even like myself sometimes. But I tell y'all this, though. One of my biggest fears when I was reading a good book, one of my biggest fears that I see coming to play right now is there's a passage in Revelations where it says that there's going to be a great falling away. I didn't really understand that. I mean, I get the concept, like, a lot of people going to leave the faith, but, it's becoming clear. I mean, if you really think about it, this world is getting more godless, or maybe America is becoming more and more godless. But there's going to be a great falling away. And, when I was thinking about the aliens and all that, I said, okay, here's a theory. Maybe when these so-called aliens arrive, they're going to say, yo, we the one sent Jesus here. And, y'all took the gospel and manipulated it the wrong way or interpreted it the wrong way, but we really engineered y'all and, we y'all saviors. And, I always thought, well, maybe that would be the reason why people will start falling away from the faith. But nah, I don't even think it's that no more. On the real, y'all want me to be real? On the real, it's just a theory. But, and I'm not joking when I say that. I'm dead serious. I think Satan is a homosexual. Yeah. Think about that. Think about it. I think I was locked up at the time when the Catholic Church actually, was putting up the rainbow flags. And I was like, what? How did they infiltrate What? Okay. And then it hit me. I said, for that to be sanctioned, had to come all the way from the top. And then it dawned on me. Now, I have my gripes about the Catholic Church. I mean, the Catholic Church have done great things in the world, but they also have did a lot of wicked things too. But this one right here, nah. That's when I realized, I said, yo, we are living in some strange times. Is this the end time? I don't know, y'all. Because only God knows the exact second and time and date of the, when that clock starts. But Jesus did also tell us that there's going to be signs of the end times or whatever. But y'all let me know in the comment section if y'all want me to make a video about. Matter of fact, y'all let me know in the comment section Do y'all like when I do these Bible talks? And am I just running my mouth and y'all not interested? Let me know in the comment section. Matter of fact, let's put Bible talks in the comment section to let me know if this is what y'all really want. Because I can go deep, pause. I definitely can go deep into this. But we'll say that for another video. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button and share this video. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you hit that like button for me. Also, if you like stories like this, make sure you check out Stacy's Storytime.
Stacy's Storytime.
I'll have her link pinned at the top of the comment section. Make sure y'all go check her out. If you want to continue to show your support for the Donta Show Network, make sure you send your weekly donation to our Cash App, our PayPal, and our Zelle. It is highly appreciated. Until next time, take care.